Welcome to Digital Clarity's FAQs. This is the first episode of our first series, so please subscribe below, visit our social media pages and also our blog to get some more content. Let's start with the first question. So what is a good conversion rate on PPC? Before we go into the detail, let's understand what we're talking about when we say conversion rate. So with PPC, any click that comes through to the site and then ends in a success metric would be deemed as a conversion rate, and therefore that can range anywhere from 0 up to 100%, but it's going to vary based on a number of different factors. So let's break those down a little bit. The first one here is industry. So depending on what industry you're actually in, your conversion rates may vary. If you're very competitive on price and price sensitive, so for example, your users will go from one site to a competitor site and really delve into the detail to try and find the best price, then you would tend to see that your conversion rates are possibly going to be lower. Whereas if you're in a different industry, maybe something that's selling high fashion, your conversion rates maybe would be a little bit higher. So be aware of where you particularly sit within your industry and what market you're in. Secondly would be the landing page. So the important thing to bear in mind here is that sometimes you're building landing pages to educate a user when they visit the site rather than just convert them straight away. Whereas other pages are all about driving down into a conversion, getting someone to fill a form as soon as they arrive. So the landing page will also steer your conversion rate slightly as well. And finally, keywords. So keywords will have different triggers as well. So something like a brand keyword, whether it be your own brand or a product that you're selling, is likely to have a much higher conversion rate than perhaps a very generic term. So here's a question for you. What do you think is higher? A download of a white paper or arranging a callback? Now, this is a good test to do when you're looking at your own data. So put your two conversion rates alongside each other and actually figure out what you think should be converting better and whereabouts you think that may sit on the scale. So we did a study and we looked across 12 months worth of data for a number of clients that are tracking these particular actions on their site, and we found that downloading a white paper was considerably higher. And the reason for that is because actually there's little commitment. You may have to put in an email address and click a button, but other than that you're not really giving too much information away. Whereas when you're arranging a callback, you're committing yourself that you're going to be available for that particular call. So often you may put a time, morning or afternoon, when people may call you back. So let's now break that down into what a lead generation conversion curve might look like. So down this axis here we've got the conversion rate going from lowest to highest, and this is from 1 to 40% or 0 to 40%. Along the baseline here we've got the required customer commitment. So how much commitment does a customer need to be giving you? And we tend to see that there's this curve. So the least commitment on this side, so something like a download of a white paper or for an ebook, will convert at a much higher rate. However, there's a little commitment from them. As you get more committed, applying for a job, requesting a quote, all the way through to booking a test drive for a car, the conversion rate declines and gets much lower. And the reason for that, if you're booking a test drive for a car, you need to know what car you're interested in, where you're going to do the test drive, what time you're going to do the test drive, and what location that is as well. So there's a lot of different factors that you need to have decided before you even get to this point, and hence the conversion rate will tend to be lower. So let's now look at what the e-commerce trend may look like. And this is an interesting one because the data that we've analysed for this actually shows a slightly different curve that you may expect. So down at this end we've got, again, conversion rate, and this is from 0 up to about 5%, and along the bottom we've got the value of the product. So these products here, this first entry level, they're quite a low conversion rate, and they're also quite low value. So something like bath towels or mugs or socks, they're considerably low in cost, But actually, there's lots of them about. There's lots of different preferences that you might have, different colours, different patterns. And equally, you could be in a supermarket and find something that's convenient for you there and just chuck it in your basket. So we found that the conversion rates in our studies were actually quite low for these particular products. We found the highest conversions were for things like dresses, trainers, clothing and apparel. And the reason for that is they're regular purchases, but people tend to have a brand that they go to that they're familiar with and that they're happy with. They're also not too expensive, so people are happy to part with their cash for those particular products, and the conversion rates therefore seem to be quite higher. As these then become more personalised, so things like watches or jewellery, and the value increases, the conversion rate tends to decline. And finally, for the big purchase, the big tickets, such as a luxury holiday where you've got to figure out where you're going, when you're going, how many of you are going, what hotel you're going to stay in, whether you're going to do multiple trips in one. There's lots of different factors there, and the cost is normally quite high. It's normally one of the larger purchases that an individual will make. So therefore the conversion rate from an actual click through to a purchase will be quite low. So let's look at the DC takeaways for today. So the first point is that your conversion rate can vary dependent on a number of different factors. So you need to be really clear what those factors are. That could be the industry, the types of keywords you're using, etc. Secondly, take this data that we've looked at and map out where you think you actually fit on those scales and those trends. And that should give you a good idea to understand whether you're actually doing okay or whether you need some improvement. And then thirdly, find out a way that you can actually start to test that improvement. And if you want more details on that, one of our following videos is going to touch on how to improve conversion rates as well. So obviously, again, subscribe and follow our content online. So that's been us. So what a good conversion rate is on PPC. Hopefully it's been helpful, and we'll see you soon.